Now, when we started this service year, I asked our core members to not give this year your all, but I asked you to give this year your best. And I'm proud and honored to say, looking back on this day, you gave this year your best. While we didn't know what the twists and turns were, I'm proud to say that you did this. And every one of you, your best was different. For some of you, that best was learning how to master emojis. For some of you, it was navigating ill-fitting or a lack of face masks in the school building. For some of you, it was learning how to do phonics via Zoom. And for some of you, it was exhaustion when you see policies and decisions being made that's not in the best interest of students. Regardless of what it was, you showed up and you gave it your best, day in and day out. It was a hybrid setting, or whether it was remote, in your living room or dining room. You showed up, gave it your best, and you pushed through it. And that's exactly what students need right now, especially given all the change and uncertainty that's happening. I'm so incredibly proud of each and every one of you. You all really embody the values of City Year. I can't wait to look back a couple years from now, seeing like where you're at in your future careers, your future journeys, and being able to look back at how this year helped you provide you with the skills and the experience needed to be able to make a difference in the world. This year's going to always be with you. It's going to frame you. It's going to ground you. And I hope when you go forward, you remember some of the tools that this year gave you. Perseverance, collaboration, patience, flexibility. All those are some of the skills you now have sharper this year that weren't as sharp before. But the most important skill that I personally observed, and I hope you remember and you keep with you, self-belief. The fact that you already believe in yourself and you didn't know how things were going to go is an important skill. And that's what's going to help you continue to move forward. Never forget that skill. That's what you're going to use. I'm going off script too, so it's all right. So, as I'm looking back on this year and looking at all the profound impact that you all had, I want to also make sure that I ground you all in the fact that like, you're part of a national movement. You're one of almost 3,000 people doing this across the country. And as City Year's mission is to build democracy and social and citizen service through social entrepreneurship, it's that service that allows people to see power and idealism in action. And this is what's going to spark the next generations of leaders. And, you know, City has been doing this since 1988, and it's grown from a small summer pilot in Boston to now being over 3,000 AmeriCorps members in 29 cities, as well as international affiliates in South Africa and UK. And in a time where we have over 20,000 alumni doing this work year in and year out, dedicating 42 million hours of service to their communities and helping 1.3 million children, y'all play a very important role in that. You're what's going to make that movement too. And I want to say thank you. You're going to be the shoulders of the giants that the future. I can keep talking and showering you with praise all day, but I want to call somebody up who probably appreciates you all just as much as me, but it's probably the president of your family. So I'm going to call up Mr. John Morris to introduce each team and give out some fun certificates. So John, please come to the stage.
I'd like to call the impact managers Lynn and Janelle. Oh, sorry, we're going to start with Janelle Gordon. If you could come up to the stage, please. And as I call your name, please come up to the podium to get your certificate from your impact manager, and then stand to wait for a team photo. So it's my distinct honor and genuine pleasure to congratulate the following team and graduate AmeriCorps members. We're going to start with the City Year Buffalo team serving at Buffalo Collegiate, led by Janelle Gordon. We're going to start with Anna Dixon. Alexis Isaac. Renee Dennis. Sarah Wilson. And Dry Robinson. Oh, sorry, and Elizabeth Holden. Special recognition to Sarah Wilson, our AmeriCorps member who's returning to Buffalo for second year of service. Yeah! Congratulations, Buffalo Legion. And win. Okay, and now we're going to honor the E-Bank team serving at Persistence Preparatory Charter School led by Wyndham. And we're going to start with Susanna Troop. Lindsay Chapel. Abigail Ritz. Sheila Sullivan. Nikaya Park. And Raya Wolf. Congratulations, PPA. Horticultural, Swiftly Swappity. Okay, we are going to call up the National Grid team serving at Enterprise Charter School led by Jamila Horton. With us today, we'd like to start with Anissa Wilkins.
I got my buddies. I got you.
Samuel Roberts. We have three folks not here with us today. Graduated Jasenia Ronaldo and Jay Davis early. They are training to continue their education career elsewhere in Houston, Texas. So congratulations to them. And we also have Aaron Johnson training in Syracuse to lead a group of youths in Alaska. So congratulations. Congratulations, Enterprise. Finally, Lynn, come back up. We have the Rich Products team serving at West Buffalo Charter School led by Wynn. We can start with Jazz Houston. Lily Johnson. Whitney Carpenter. Lexi Marks. Angie Perez. And Luke Wilson. I think you're a star. That's fine. Congratulations, West Buffalo. Now, representing AmeriCorps class of 2021, we have remarks from Sarah Wilson.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah, and I'm an AmeriCorps member proudly serving on the Buffalo Collegiate Charter School team. So, as some of you might already know, I'm kind of an overplanner. So, when I was getting ready to apply for City Year, I was doing my research. I was trying to find any piece of information that I could because I wanted to know if I should do this. So while I'm doing all this research, I'm reading articles and looking up videos, and I kept coming across this one thing that people kept saying, no matter when or where they served. Your service year will be one of the most challenging but rewarding experiences of your life. And those people were right. What they said was absolutely true, but I don't think they would know how true it would be for all of us, the City Year Buffalo class of 2021. So we could not have anticipated the challenges that we faced this year here, but we're here in this moment able to say that we persevered through it. We've all faced many different challenges this year, whether you still don't know what some of your students look like, or you've had to quarantine, or maybe you faced one of a million other challenges this year. But I'm here to tell you that we did it, and not only did we get through this year, but we did it with bravery, passion, and grace. So, Mike often compares a year of service to a flight on a plane, noting that there will always be some turbulence. This year, there were days where it felt less like turbulence and a little more like the plane was on fire. But somehow it was still one of the best experiences of my life. And the lessons that I learned this year will be things that I carry with me forever. And that's one of the reasons why I'm thrilled to share that I'm coming back for another year of service. So we're here at our graduation, and yet this is the first time that we're seeing some of each other in person. I am blown away by how amazing everyone looks. But despite the fact that we had to bond through screens, I feel so close and connected to all of you. The moments of advice, support, and humor that we've shared during our trainings, affinity groups, and other events have all been so meaningful. And we've been able to become closer than any of us probably thought that we could. And not only have we been able to make these meaningful connections with each other, but with our students as well. At the beginning of my service year, I didn't know if any of my students would ever see me as anything other than the mean lady that would close their computer tabs. There were students that would log into their class on Zoom and walk away from their computer entirely for the rest of the day. At times, they would ignore every single message, email, or post on Google Classroom that I tried to send. I was lucky if they even left me on read, because at least that meant that they were looking at what I was sending them. But luckily, I'm a little bit harder to ignore in person, and I'm pretty persistent. So now those students that were ignoring me back in October complain if I'm gone for even a single day. They're even trying to tell me that I need to show up tomorrow, but they don't have school. This year I learned that service rarely looks like one great moment of impact. When I first started writing this speech, I wanted to say that it was more like 100 small moments of impact, but that doesn't really describe how this year has been for me either. So at City Year, when a core member and a student have a significant impact on each other, we will usually sometimes call that student our starfish student based on one of our founding stories. I thought I found my starfish student back in December. Well, I didn't, but that did turn out to be a bad thing. You see, a student had told me that if she ever wrote a book about her life, that I would be the first person that she'd give it to. And I was an adult that had time to listen to her talk about all the challenges that she had faced. And while I'd still love to read her book someday, she found other mentors that were a better fit for her goals and her identity. I didn't get the story where we became close and changed each other's lives. Instead, I learned that I'm not always going to be the best fit for every student. And if I want to help my students reach their greatest potential, sometimes I'll need to step back. I don't always need to be the coach. Sometimes I just need to be the one cheering from the stands, there to offer support and encouragement instead of giving step-by-step instructions. Well, I'd love to stand here and tell you about the life-changing impact I've had on all of the students that I've worked with. I truthfully don't always know how much of an impact I've made. It reminds me of one of our founding stories, cathedral building. Cathedral building, as we call it at City Year, although it does go by many different names, really dives into what it means to be a part of something that's bigger than yourself. The story goes a little like this. A traveler is passing through a village searching for wisdom, as the travelers in these stories often do, and he comes across 3 men working, and he asks each man what they're working on. The first man says that he's laying bricks. The second says that he's there working to support his family, but the third man, with pride, states that he is building a cathedral. Cathedrals would often take hundreds of years to build and would require multiple generations of workers. This story is about remembering your vision and what you're working toward, even when your role feels small. It reminds me that every effort I make contributes to a larger goal. It may be years from now that a student feels my impact, and like a cathedral builder, I might not get to see it for myself, but I still trust that each brick I lay to empower my students will one day lead to that cathedral. My students might forget the grammar or vocabulary that I teach them. I'm sure some of them already have, but I hope that they remember the way they felt when they were with me. I hope they remember the days where we put aside the laptops and worksheets and we spoke about what they wanted school to be, and I encouraged them to take control of their own learning. But I mostly hope that they remember me as someone who cared about them and believes in their potential. I may not know what impact I have had on the students I've worked with, but I definitely know that they've had a huge impact on me. I learned that the first step to being an advocate for someone is to start by listening to them. I'll never forget the moment when one of my students, we'll call her Rebecca, said, "How come only the good kids get treats?" I responded with something like, "You're right, what's up with that?" I could have said that I thought she was a good kid, but instead I listened. I listened to Rebecca as, without prompting, this 6th grader began to tell me stories of when she was in kindergarten and 1st grade, when teachers had first decided that she wasn't one of the good kids. I don't think any of her current teachers thought of her as bad. In fact, I know many of Rebecca's teachers love working with her, but that descriptor of bad that someone thoughtlessly gave Rebecca years ago still stuck with her. Unfortunately, Rebecca's story isn't an outlier. As I continued my year of service, I found that it was actually a pattern. I listened as other students told me similar stories of adults applying labels to young people over and over again, without realizing that these young people were internalizing these labels and that these labels were capping the potential that these young people could see in themselves. As most of us know, labels have power and should be a source of pride, not shame, for each of us. I stand here during Pride Month, proud to say that I am a queer disabled woman. These are my labels though, and I have worked this year and throughout my life to take ownership of these labels. They're not labels that have been thoughtlessly applied and then internalized due to the offhanded remark of an authority figure. One of the things that I'm most proud of over these last 10 months is that I have worked to encourage the young people at Buffalo Collegiate to find themselves and to not let anyone limit their goals, no matter what they might be or what labels they choose to own. I was told over and over again how important building relationships with my students would be. But there are really no words or data that can describe the difference that it really does make. That defines the work that we do here at City Year. Sure, we tutor students and help with after-school programs and greet them in the morning. But in reality, the most important thing that we do every day is to care about our students and encourage them to be the heroes of their own stories. Whether you're returning to City Year, furthering your education, becoming a teacher in one of our partner schools, or simply using the lessons that you've learned this year to become a more active citizen, I know that each and every member of the class of 2021 will go on to do amazing things and continue their impact to change this world for the better. Congratulations, we did it. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. And no matter what role you have in building our cathedral, our students, this city, and the world are grateful, whether they know it yet or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. I just had me grinding for a moment, so I had to take a slow walk up there. Thank you for sharing your insight, for sharing your wisdom. And I'm so happy to continue to get to learn with you and from you in the upcoming year. And now, you all are getting ready to join the ranks of the City Year Alumni community. And to be able to share some words and usher you into this great, amazing community, I would like to invite City Year alum Benjamin Goldberg to come up and share some words and lead you in the alumni pledge.
Everybody, I'm Benjamin Goldberg. I proudly served in City Year, Rhode Island in 2008. First, I'd like to congratulate you on your year of service. When I met with you guys at the beginning of the year, I challenged you to build on the alumni's reputation, and the fact that you're here today illustrates that you did just that. So thank you. I'd also like to take a minute to thank Michael and the rest of the leadership team here for an extraordinary year. You guys brought another core to graduation, another successful year of service. Amazing, absolutely amazing. All right, guys, you ready? This is the fun part. Okay, so please repeat after me. I pledge to put idealism to work. I pledge to put idealism to work. Take action. Take action. Seek common ground. Seek common ground. Generate positive change in my community, nation, and world. Generate positive change in my world. Do my best to make a difference in the lives of others. Do my best to make a difference. And carry the lessons and values of my year of service with me always. And carry the lessons and values. I am a City Year alum. I am a City Year alum. I am a leader for life. I am a leader for life. Congratulations and welcome to the alumni community.
Thank you, Benjamin. And before I close this out, I want to make sure I say two things real fast. So one, I said a quick thank you to them earlier, but to the City Year staff team, Staff team, where you at? Let me see you wave real fast. All right. I want to take a moment and appreciate these folks. Whether you know it or not, every single moment of the day, even when I'm telling them not to, they're just constantly trying to figure out how to make this work happen. We're far from perfect, but I can say without certainty, they always get better and find a way to continue to make this work happen. So to the staff team, I thank you. I love each and every one of you. You're the best. And last but not least, so I'm saying this in closing this out. I'm moving off script, but again, it's all right. I want to make sure just to say to everyone here, this past year had its bumps and bruises. This was a tough one for a lot of us. We fought some battles that we were here, we seen each other battling, and there were some battles that we were all fighting that none of us seen. But through it all, we made it through. And so I want to be sure to say to each and every one of you, we made it through a really dark time, but it looks like we're all shining now. So make sure whatever we did to get us through this year, we continue to embrace each other and we continue to keep our light shining. With that, City Year Buffalo Class of 2021, thanks. I appreciate you. And you are officially alumni now. Thanks, everybody. That's it. That's it. So the folks want to come up here and get a picture with their plaque. Pretty please. And there are refreshments inside. So we'd love to have you inside if you want to come have some refreshments. Be around each other. All that good stuff.
Sorry, everybody.